This Day in Sports History. And welcome to another edition of This Day in Sports History, a member of the Sports History Network. There's a full line of great sports podcasts at sportshistorynetwork.com. If you're suffering from a lull in football here in the summer, well, plug into Pigskin Dispatch. With the NBA winding down, how about Feed Your Need for Hoops with Basketball 101 with Rick Loiza? Or check out our two newest members to the Sports History Network lineup, Digits Dynasty and the GP Soccer Podcast. Just go to sportshistorynetwork.com and find your next podcast. It's June 18th, and on this day in 1941, one of the titans of boxing faced a monumental challenge to his heavyweight title, though it really wasn't supposed to be that way. Joe Louis had taken on the world and all comers and had defeated them all. He took the heavyweight title in 1937, and in the previous 17 title defenses had not had any issues until this night in 1941. Louis stepped into the ring at New York's Polo Grounds against Billy the Kid Conn. Louis was decidedly bigger at 200 pounds to Conn's 174. Conn was a good challenger, and there were some who thought he stood a little bit of a chance, maybe the best challenger to Louis since Max Schmeling. Conn had recently moved up a weight class from light heavyweight. He was the underdog, but at 11-5, it wasn't exactly a long shot. After the first few rounds, Conn was dancing and dodging, taking opportunities, but trying to stay out of reach and not countering. After landing a barrage of punches in the 8th round, Conn pulled Louis into a clinch and screamed into his ear, "You got a fight on your hands, Joe!" Louis battled back with body blows using the adage, "Kill the body and the head will follow." In the 12th round, Conn began chasing Louis around the ring, and he had the brown bomber on his heels. Sensing a chance to knock out the great Joe Louis, Conn changed his strategy in the 13th, deciding to go toe-to-toe with Louis and trade punches. He soon regretted that decision. Louis landed an uppercut to Conn's jaw and buckled his knees, and that was the beginning of the end for Conn.
A left jab to the jaw and a right cross scored by Joe Louis, and Conn is hurt. As Louis rips the right to the jaw, Conn is staggering, but he won't go down. There's Louis jabbing a left and uppercutting his right to Conn's head. Conn blocks the left hook. He's railing around the ring. Louis hooks the left and the right to the jaw, and Conn is down from a right cross to the jaw. He's taking the count. 4, 5, 6, 7. He's on his back. 8, 9. He's getting up at the... Oh, no! The referee says it's all over. The referee says it's all over. The bout is stopped. The winner and still champion, Joe Louis. But what a fight Billy Conn gave.
If Louis had not knocked out Conn and it had gone to a decision, the majority of folks believed that the result would have been in Conn's favor. This episode is brought to you by the Sterling Soap Company. Sterling Soap is 100% natural, and with a variety of bath soaps, shave soaps, beard balm, lotions, cologne, and many more personal care products in a large variety of scents, you're sure to find something that's perfect for you or that special someone in your life. Check them out at sterlingsoap.com. Hey, so this past weekend we watched the world's best golfers battle the tough conditions at Oakmont in the U.S. Open, and what the USGA says is to identify the world's best golfer. Well, on this day in 1985, Golf Digest hosted a different sort of tournament. They wanted to identify the world's worst golfer. More specifically, the world's worst avid golfer. Now, the guidelines were pretty straightforward when they started to put this thing together. The golfer could not have any physical handicaps, needed to be at least 25 but younger than 55. Participants had to have an established USGA handicap of at least 36 and play more than 21 rounds a year. And here was the kicker. The person must be a confirmed golf nut who loved the game despite all his inadequacies, confident in the knowledge that one day he would find the secret, or buy the gadget or the golf ball, get a tip whispered in his ear, or buy an instructional DVD that would just unlock the game and put his game on track. Now, a small announcement was placed in the front of the magazine earlier in the year, and it elicited more than 625 recommendations by family members and friends of bad golfers nationwide. After verifying scores and handicaps, the hundreds were narrowed down to 12, and then after a senior exec with Golf Digest toured around the country playing with that dozen, 4 were selected to match their lack of skill against TPC Sawgrass, site of the Players' Championship. The final 4 were a restaurant owner from Moline, Illinois, a stockbroker from Aurora, Colorado, an attorney from Tyler, Texas, and Angelo Spagnolo, a grocery store manager from Fayette City, Pennsylvania. On this day, they set out on their quest, and there was no trying to take it easy on these guys either. PGA Tour Commissioner Dean Beeman was in attendance and made sure that the tees were all the way back and the pin positions were like they were on Sunday for the Players' Championship. Now, the 4 guys who played all said that they were playing to take the fewest number of shots that day, just like any traditional golf tournament. Jack Pulford, the restaurant guy from Moline, said, "If I wanted to become notorious, I'd sneak past the guards at the White House. I'm here to be the best of the worst." Things were fairly close until they came to the famed Island Green at 17. And that's where one contestant separated himself from all the rest. Angelo Spagnolo put ball after ball after ball into the water. After putting 10 straight into the drink, his caddy quietly pulled him aside and suggested that maybe he should putt it up the cart path and across the land bridge. Now, Spagnolo thought that would be mocking the game, so he continued to pull ball after ball out of his bag and kept putting ball after ball into the water. After he kerplunked, kersplooshed, and dribbled 27 golf balls into the murky depths, he finally took his caddy's advice and pulled out his putter and guided the ball down the path to the green. He rolled in an improbable 12-foot putt to record a 66 on the hole. Now, for comparison's sake, Calvin Peete won the 1985 Players' Championship on this same course, shooting 66 on all 18 holes on the final day to win by 3 shots back in March. When they mercifully got to the 18th green, Kelly Ireland, the lawyer from Tyler, Texas, sank a 20-foot legit bogey putt to shoot the lowest round of the day, a 107 over par 179. After tapping in for a 22 on the final hole, Spagnolo earned the ignominious title of Worst Avid Golfer in America with a score of 257, saying, "The wheels kind of came off there at the end." The round took 7.5 hours to complete. There was actually serious talk of doing another one of these in 1995 on the 10th anniversary and in 2010 on the 25th anniversary of the event, but thankfully, saner minds prevailed and those plans were shelved. Outside of the fact that both have a set of golf clubs and several sleeves of golf balls in their bag, there is little comparison that can be done between those guys and the top pros. But Phil Mickelson may have felt a little like those guys on this day in 2006. Well, at least on the 18th hole at Winged Foot, site of the '06 U.S. Open. Mickelson came to the last tee that day needing a par to win and a bogey to tie. Now, he didn't exactly know that at the time. He'd just watched Colin Montgomery drain a long putt at 17 for birdie to draw even. But what Phil did not know yet was that Monty was on his way to a disastrous final hole double bogey. So even though Johnny Miller strongly suggested Phil hit 4-wood off the tee from his spot in the TV broadcast tower, Phil pulled driver out of the bag and let it rip. It's one reason why Phil is popular, but it was not the smartest play.
All right, tee shot for Mickelson. This better be a 4-wood. Doesn't like this one.
Going way left, way left. Oh, what a bounce out into the rough to the right. But I don't think that'll leave him much.
Off of the hospitality tent.
I'll tell you what, right now Ben Hogan is officially rolled over in his grave. I cannot believe he didn't hit forward there.
So you heard there that his ball hit a hospitality tent and bounced back toward the 18th, landing in an area trampled by spectators all week. His lie wasn't that bad, but it would have been a whole lot better if his ball had not hit that tent and instead had carried over to the fairway parallel to the 18th. He would have had less things to deal with and more options. Australian Jeff Ogilvy managed to par the 18th, and he was the leader in the clubhouse at +5. Still, a par by Phil would win him the elusive U.S. Open title, a championship he'd already finished second in 3 times. His second shot from the trampled rough hit a tree limb and dropped straight down, no more than 25 yards away from him. His third shot was high, but left of the green, and landed in a greenside bunker like a fried egg, making his fourth shot darn near impossible to get it close, and he did not. It ran past the hole into the thick rough, leaving him with a chip to force a playoff. That too raced by the hole, and as Phil rolled in his double bogey, Jeff Ogilvy was hugging his wife as the newly minted U.S. Open champ. It was another heartbreaker for Phil. He would go on to finish second in 2009 and again in 2013 for a total of 6 second-place finishes in the only major he never won. One more golf story for today, and this one's pretty funny. On this day in 1898, Scotland's Fred Hurd won the U.S. Open. Now, this was the first time that the Open Championship played 72 holes, and considering that the Myopia Golf Club where this edition was played only had 9 holes, it meant the golfers had to play the same 9 8 times over the course of 2 days. Hurd had rounds of 85, 84, 75, and finished with an 84 to win by 7 strokes over the closest competitor. Now, it was well known that Hurd liked to drink a lot. So, before awarding him the trophy, tournament officials required the Scotsman to leave part of his $500 cash prize behind as a deposit so that he would not sell the trophy for drinking money. On this day in 1977, it was one of those moments that you don't see very often in sports. There's this idea that as a manager or a coach, you don't show up one of your players. If you have a problem with them, you take them aside, have a talk, pull them if you need to, but do it discreetly. Well, that did not happen in this case. In the 6th inning in a game with the Boston Red Sox at Fenway Park, New York Yankees manager Billy Martin pulled Reggie Jackson out of the outfield and replaced him in the lineup. Now, it stemmed from the lack of perceived effort by Reggie on a ball hit by Jim Rice. Rice lined a ball that by all accounts should have just been a single, but Jackson jogged instead of ran, and the ball got to the fence, and Rice turned a single into a double. Now, first, Martin went to the mound and replaced his pitcher. When Martin got back to the dugout, he told Paul Blair to get his glove and go to right field and send Reggie in. The move surprised everybody at Fenway and watching on television. When Blair got to Reggie and relayed the message, Jackson could be seen mouthing the words, "Who, me?" He jogged back to the dugout and immediately confronted his manager. They nearly came to blows in the dugout, and if it had not been for assistant Elston Howard, they probably would have. But Howard wasn't restraining Reggie. Instead, he was holding back Martin, who wanted to get after Reggie. After the game, Martin told reporters, "If you don't hustle, I don't accept it. If a player shows up the club, I show up the player." The Yankees lost the game 10-4, and this confrontation continued to perpetuate the narrative of the original Bronx Zoo and the Yankees organization. And time now for today's That's Got Nothing to Do with Sports fun fact. The longest-running lab experiment in the world is the pitch drop experiment in Queensland, Australia. Back in 1927, physics professor Thomas Parnell heated up some pitch, which is a black viscous material used in road making, and he poured it into a sealed funnel. He let it cool for 3 years before unsealing the funnel. It took 8 years for the first drop to fall. Since that time, 95 years ago, only 8 more drops have fallen, with the last one happening in 2014. Another pitch drop experiment set up at Trinity College in Dublin, Ireland, started in 1944. In 2013, a drip in that experiment was the first ever observed by human eyes via a webcam that was set up. Both are expected to see their next drop soon. That's all for now. I'll have more tomorrow on This Day in Sports History. This Day in Sports History is a member of the Sports History Podcast Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sports. Learn more and find additional podcasts at sportshistorynetwork.com. This has been an original Thrive Suite production.